All right, Birdie. You're live on Facebook right now.
Hey, Facebook fans.
And in a second, we'll be live on Instagram. Oh, switch it. There we go. Oh, that looks pretty good. First try.
Good. You have done it a few times.
Yeah. So, I feel like I get my glasses on. Now we've taken care of the moneymaker, that we're ready to go. You want to introduce the drink, please?
It is the Modern Cosmo.
What's modern? Why modern?
I don't know. Cheers. I didn't compare it to a regular Cosmo, so I don't know the difference.
And what flavors do we have in there? Because I'm getting citrus again.
Cranberry, lime,
That might be it. Cointreau?
Cointreau, and then vodka citron.
Oh, okay.
With a twist of lemon, but you can't see it. I thought it would make it clear, but you can't see it that much. It's pretty good.
I've never had a Cosmo before.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a difference. I have to confess that I picked this tonight because we only had to buy one thing at the grocery store.
That works.
We had everything else.
I mean...
And cranberry was the thing we had to buy.
So, hold on a second. If you keep buying liquors and alcohols and everything to make the drinks of the day for closets and cocktails, then you're going to be not a good example of being an organizer and just like stuffing your cabinets full of different liquors.
Well, I don't know what we had the last time 2 weeks ago, but I know it had cranberry in it. And I sent the cranberry home with you because you would drink it and we wouldn't. And then we had to buy cranberry today.
Oh, did you? What did we have? Paloma. Did we have the Palomas last week?
No, we had that blackberry bramble margarita.
That's right.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good. So.
Alrighty. So, first Cosmo for me. And, good. I mean, last time we were up in a different unit. And we walked through and we looked at all the different pieces and parts that make up a closet. And we've had a lot of great feedback from that, right? And I mean, first of all, people just loved the lights and the mirrors and all the bells and whistles that were on top of that.
Beautiful.
But we've also had the same amount of comments. Just okay, well, I don't want mirrors everywhere, but how do we transition to doors, or how do we transition to maybe like smaller glass windows or something like that? And again, the concepts are the same, whether you're going, really high end, or you're just trying to get a kid's closet so that they pick up their stuff, right? The use, the utility, the function of it really remains the same either way.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We listen to your wants, your goals, and make it happen.
Yeah. So I wanted to take the conversation a little bit different place tonight, and you can see, I mean, she's got a t-shirt on. She's still in that very summer light mood. I feel like I'm always wearing my Birdie Brennan pullover too, so I wanted to switch up with a sweatshirt tonight. And so what we're going to talk about is this transition from season to season and how that impacts what you might use your closet for, or how you swap different things out that you use in your home. And there's a lot of different places that we could go with this. But what I will just start with is, we were in a closet a couple months ago, and the conversation was, well, I have a lot of long dresses because it's summertime, right? But what happens when it gets a little bit colder out, and the sundresses, the dresses go away, and the sweaters come out, right? So when you look at that, how do you approach change of season? And let's just talk about from a closet perspective first, but then we'll just talk about organizing and what you have in your house.
Well, the great thing about our closet system is it's flexible.
Yeah.
So it can have long hang, and then the long hang can go away, and you can add shelves. And the shelves can just get taken out and stacked at the bottom for the summer, for those long dresses. As an organizer, I would prefer that the closet has room for all your seasons, and that you don't have to go through the process of switching
around.
The 80-20 rule applies everywhere. You wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. So really just slimming down the clothes so that it fits and all seasons fit in your space would be my first goal.
Okay.
But if that doesn't happen, then the closets are flexible and you can swap them out.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and we'll take this from a non-organizer person.
Okay.
Do you think people are going to get rid of 20% of their clothing to be able to pare down what they actually have?
I do think that people, when they really start looking, and when you get a new closet, it's the perfect time. You have to take everything out, so it is the perfect time. And when you start looking at what you have, a lot of people pare down. A lot of people say, I got rid of 6 trash bags. You know, I donated, but sometimes you can't, there was so much you can't even tell.
Yeah.
But we hear that a lot, that people really are looking at their clothes and take out what they don't love and wear anymore.
Okay.
So I think it happens a lot. And when you get a new closet, it's the perfect time.
Okay, let's talk about shoes then.
Shoes.
Because I don't think people are going to get rid of their shoes. And I mean, you've designed entire closets just based upon shoes, right?
Oh
so
my gosh,
that's not something. I mean, I'm not the best person to ask, but maybe somebody wears a pair of shoes 4 times a year, right? Really nice, I don't know, high heels, something like that. So they really want to keep those, but they're not. They either have an emotional attachment to it, or they're just not going to get rid of those to be able to pare down.
You just have to live within your space. I'm all for keeping all the shoes. You know, if you wear those 4 pairs of shoes, you don't want to get rid of them, because when the next time comes you want them, you're going to rebuy them. So just those you just want to put somewhere not as accessible.
Okay.
You know, we take the closets all the way to the top.
Yeah,
So at the very top, put the dress shoes. A lot of people will want them in their boxes. Now, I like everything out so that you can see it, so that you can wear it. A lot of people will put their jewelry in little boxes, or their shoes in boxes. And if you don't see it, most of the time you don't wear it. But for those dressy shoes, I can see putting them in a clear box up, or you've heard the thing of taking a Polaroid picture and putting it outside on the shoe box and having it up. That's just like even purses and dust bags. Unless you know what's in each one when you see the bag, it's just out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people.
Okay.
Now,
well, I mean, I think it gets to a bigger conversation though, right? That people know that they have X amount of space, right? But they have something that they really, really love, right? And I know that shoes or sneakers are a big deal right now, right? And so, you know, whether it's a clear bins or it's, you know, an entire 96-inch stack all the way to the ceiling of just shoes, you know, they're going to keep those there. But you've also said that you should have what you really like and what you really want.
Absolutely.
Right?
So that's where the organizer eyes come in. You know, we can find other spaces. We utilize your closet space as best we can with your belongings. But then, you know, you can do on the back of the door. There's all kinds of products. There's ottomans that hold shoes. You know, you've got the under the bed stuff. The only thing I say is if you have to divide out a category, so you have to divide out shoes. You've got tennis shoes one place, you've got sandals another place. If you have to divide, have them by category.
Okay.
So you know where to go for which category. I've used the over-the-door shoe holders. I don't like them when they have those hooks over the door, but I just I screw them into the doors.
Which most of them you can do, right?
Yeah,
you can make them movable or stationary.
Yeah. And I don't love them, but they work. So behind a door, even on just a flat wall, you know, sometimes in closets when they're drawn into you know, they make a closet into the floor plan and they haven't thought it out. A lot of times there's a flat wall that's pretty unusable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can screw those right into the flat wall and have a lot more shoe storage.
Yeah. We've also, and I guess it depends on the type of shoe, but you get like the checkerboard.
Mm-hmm.
What's the technical?
Cubbies.
Cubby, okay.
Little shoe cubbies.
Yeah, and because they go 6 across and 8 high, I mean you get a lot of space condensed, and you can put all those in there as well.
You do. I personally like the flat shelves for shoes. That's my go-to. We sell the tilted shoe. I always try to steer people another way, because once you have those tilted, they look beautiful, but you can only use them for shoes.
Yeah.
So if your needs change, you've got shoe shelves. But I actually have a couple of the cubbies, because it is the best way to store a lot of shoes in a small space.
Small space.
So yeah, I got them right out there.
And I mean, again, it goes to the type of shoe, right? But
right.
like slides, flip flops, tennis shoes can all go in there pretty easily.
Flip flops, you can get a canvas tub or a basket and put all your flip flops right in there,
Okay.
and put them on a shelf. I mean, in the space of 12 inches, you can get probably 20, 30 pairs of flip flops.
That's about right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the big closets, right? Let's walk out of there, and I want to bring it into my world with kids. Okay, my kids are going back to school starting on Monday. There's a dress code, and that dress code will change halfway. I don't know, probably around Thanksgiving or something like that. And then coats, right? So like, I don't know if you have a lot of coats. I probably wear sweatshirts more than anything else, but kids have coats, and they have their winter coats, and then they have their pullovers, and then they have their I'm going sledding coats as well. So how do we, I don't want to leave those in the closet the entire year, because they're never going to get used 10 months of the year. So how do we transition between that from season to season?
It depends on how many coats you have and your entry closet, or if you're lucky enough to have like a mudroom.
Okay.
And sometimes mudrooms have space for hanging coats, as well as a couple of hooks for the coats that you're wearing on a daily basis going in and out. So you got to look at what you have. I want all my coats in one spot, but I've got the space for it, and I've pared my coats down.
Oh, for all seasons? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But in an entry closet, we've got enough space.
Okay.
So if you don't, then it's looking for a space. If you have an extra bedroom, then you have an extra closet for those out-of-season coats that you do have to switch.
Okay.
Or if you have a basement, you can just put a rod down from the rafters.
Well, I have a story about that, and that is one of my friends, Justin, right?
Okay.
Outdoors guy, hunter, and so every house, and we lived together for a while, every house that I've seen of his, or when we live together, or when he's with his wife and kids now, all of his hunting stuff is in the basement. And it's on a rod, right? Hanging from the joist.
Very cheap and
floor.
easy.
Yeah.
Cheap. We have done some coat closets in garages, because they want to hang some of their stuff out there, and a lot of shoes out in garages that aren't ever going to come in the house, but have cabinets with doors, so it protects them a little bit. But along with coats comes the hats and the mittens and the scarves and all of that stuff.
That's the worst part.
It is, and that is the one thing that I can see switching seasons for.
Okay.
Like if you have an entry closet, it's not going to hold all the winter garb, as well as like maybe a bike helmet or knee pads and elbow pads and that kind of stuff for the summer, or the swim goggles and that kind of thing. So I can see, we always try to put a section of shelves in an entry closet, even if it's little, and you have bins, so that you label the bins, gloves, hats, scarves. If you're lucky enough, you can have it per family member, so that you have to just pull out. And then in the winter, those go to an upper shelf in a not used closet, or in the basement. and then you bring out the swim stuff, the sporting stuff.
Well, and you've said it a couple times, like if you're lucky enough to have a mud room or something like that, I mean, that is an easy transition, right? Because most of the time, I mean, you could have cabinets on either end, you could have storage up top, but then you have the main hooks or main areas where that it's so easy to swap stuff out.
Book bags, sporting bags. You know, have the sporting bags packed. The baseball bag, the tennis bag, the swim bag. You just have it packed, and that way you're not searching for things, running around the house at when the meet is in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I lived through that this week with football.
Oh, no.
Funny story. My one kid, we did the check, right? We got into the van, and I said, okay, do you have your helmets? Got my helmets. Do you have your shoulder pads? Got my shoulder pads. Do you have your water bottle? Got my water bottle. Do you have your cleats? Got my cleats. We got to football practice, and one of them only had one cleat.
Oh!
And I did not react too well.
Did he practice with one cleat?
No, he got super lucky. The next day they had a scrimmage, and so they had weightlifting and then a walkthrough. So he didn't have to have his cleats. I really wish that karma would have bit him in the butt on that one though.
Sometimes it's good to have a consequence where it's not so dire.
I love consequences.
Yeah, now in that entry closet, that's a good place to put the over-the-door shoe holder.
Okay.
If you have a door that opens, swings, and not for shoes, but for those mittens and hats and gloves, that each family member can have 2 rows. The smaller kids have them at the bottom. And then you can see, get a clear or a mesh one that you can see what you've got in there. It's a really easy way for kids to put their stuff away and grab them.
Okay, so we've talked about big closets, we've talked about how you get in and out of your house with the seasons of your life. Now, just take it away from closets. When we make these transitions throughout the year, right? And now everybody's going from vacations and pools to back to school, back to routines. And at some point in time, we're going to go from shorts to long pants, and then we'll get through winter coats, and then we'll come out the other end with shorts and get back to the pool. But as we make this transition now, do you have any tips that would make it easier for families as you go back to restructuring time and you go back to restructuring schedules, especially with kids? Because I woke up a couple nights ago and it was 11:15. My kids were still up doing something. I'm just like, what are you doing? Go to bed, please. But how do we get back to schedules? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, just start a little bit early. Getting up early, if they've been sleeping till 10 and 11 every day, is tough. So, and you can't just start it 2 days before school. So, ease into it. Set their bedtime up earlier and earlier at night, and then and have them get up in the morning and have a breakfast and start that routine. Although schools are starting, so it might be too late. Start 2 weeks before school.
I think that, my kids start next Monday.
Okay.
I think everybody else has started. So I drive to the warehouse in the morning, and there's already 100 kids crossing the street at 7 o'clock in the morning or something.
I think our kids used to go to Taste Valley, and I think they started last week.
Oh, really?
Maybe even.
Oh, you know what?
before.
I do know that. I think teachers went back 2 weeks ago down there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So if you haven't started, just start getting that routine built in. And, it might not be welcome for the kids outwardly, but parents and kids, everybody likes that routine, likes a routine. It's helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
Going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time.
I said that I like consequences, right? But structure. People crave structure, and
they do, whether they admit it or not.
Yeah, well, and even if they're too young to understand that, they do like it, right? So, I know my kids will. We've already started talking about it. Okay, I'm going to take you to school. Your school starts at 8 o'clock next week. That means we have to leave by 7:40, right? Just in case there's traffic or anything like that. If we leave at 7:40, that means that you have to be up at what? 7:10, 7:15, And at that point in time, breakfast is going to be on the table, and you're going to have to get down here and get ready for it and go from there. So we've already started reverse engineering the mornings.
Just reverse engineering, yeah.
About what that looks like. But it's, you know, the older two have phones, the younger one has an iPad, but they know like they're gonna have to start programming their phones. So like 7 o'clock, that's your alarm that you're gonna have to be up at that point in time.
There is a great product called Time Timer. Different sizes, but you set it and there's big red, the red dial, and it starts ticking away.
Oh.
That people that have ADHD, it's really visual, it's very good for them, and kids. So it's funny, like even having a list in the bathroom, you know, brush teeth, put on deodorant, you know, whatever their checklist is in the morning, so that until it gets second nature, they walk in there and they, yep, just like checking the sports bag.
I will tell you that kids tune that out after a little while.
Becomes part of the landscape.
Yeah, like we had one that said brush, floss, brush, rinse, or something like that. And I mean, after a little bit, like it could have said volcanoes, aliens, gumballs, and like it wouldn't have mattered at that point.
Yeah, and false deadlines, you know, there's nothing more stressful than being late. And so a false deadline, if you have to leave the house at 7:30, say you have to leave the house at 7:15.
Yeah.
Because that extra 15 minutes, if they're using it and you don't leave till 7:30, you're still okay. But if you leave at 7:15, it's pleasant.
Well.
And you want to start the day off pleasant.
And we've said this before, right? But like, if you don't use your time's going to get used by nonsense, right? By watching commercials or your phone or whatever it might be. If you have space and you don't structure your space, it's going to get taken up with stuff.
Correct.
So yeah, creating that structure throughout your day. When you go through the change in seasons, definitely helps. Or changing, it doesn't have to be seasons. Changing in, you know, periods of your life or whatever it might be.
Transitions. Those transition times are when organizers get called.
Okay.
Because everything is running smooth, and then you get a new job, you have somebody else move into their house, you have, you know, whether that's a...
Well, I would assume that this past summer with people moving houses was a big organizing push. Either getting rid of stuff or helping get new stuff in.
Both.
Both.
Both. Love it.
Okay. Sounds good.
I practice what I preach. Somebody came today to look at some colors for closets. And every room he went in, he's like, oh, you're organized. Yeah. Oh, you're so organized. Oh, you make me sick.
It's a little intimidating.
I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
With organizing. Not so much time management, but organizing.
Yeah. It's a little intimidating sometimes. I mean, you weren't even here one day and I walked in and, I mean, there's nothing out of place.
It's very calming. And it's just us. It's, you know, just two of us. It's not like we had kids. When we had kids, we had stuff.
That's true.
And we had stuff different places.
Okay.
Out of place.
All right. Well, I think we've reached the time limit of our 30 minutes here. And almost perfect timing on our parts here. So for a modern Cosmo, which was very good, I enjoyed it very much for my first one.
Me too.
And we started this conversation with just change in seasons and changing in how you can adapt a closet to do different things. And before you know it, we're talking about time management. And
it all relates.
Over the door shoe holders and everything else.
So. They're a good product.
So. All right, I think we're going to get some guests in here over the next couple times. So look forward for those. And again, if we have done a closet of yours and you want to have us over for a visit and we can go through all the different pieces and parts
that would be fun.
We can go on the road.
That'd be fun.
Fill up the Yeti and come and visit. So we can do that as well. And from myself, John, and
Birdie,
we'll come visit you next time on Closets and Cocktails.